American system of manufacturing. The American system of manufacturing was a set of manufacture methods that evolved in the 19th century. The two notable features were the extensive use of interchangeable parts and mechanization for production, which resulted in more efficient use of labor compared to hand method. This system was also known as armory practice because it was the first fully developed in armories, namely the United States armories and at Springfield and in Massachusetts and Harper's Ferry in Virginia. Inside contractors to supply the United States Armed Forces and various private armories. The name American system come not for any aspect of the system that is unique to the American national charger character, but simply from the fact that for a time in the 19th century it was strongly associated with the American companies who first successfully implemented it, and how their method contrast with those of British and continental European companies in the 1850. The American system was contrasted to the British factory system, which lead evolved over the previous century. Within a few decades, manufacturing technology had evolved future, and the ideas behind the American system were in use worldwide. Therefore, in manufacturing today, which is global to the scope of its methods, this is no longer any such distinction. The American system involves skilled labor using machine tools and jigs to make standardized, identical, interchangeable parts and manufactured to the tolerance which could be assembled with a minimum of time and skill, requiring little to no fitting. Since the parts are interchangeable, it was also possible to separate manufacture from for assembly and repair. An example of the division of labor, this meant that all three functions could be carried out by semi-still like manufacture in smaller factory up the supply chain, assembly on an assembly line in a main factory, and repair in small specialized shop or in the field. The result is that more things could be made more cheaply and with high quality, and those things also could be disturbed future and lasted and longer because repair will were also easier and cheaper in the case of each function. The system of interchangeable parts typically involved substituting specialized machinery to replace hand tools. Interchangeability of parts was finally achieved by coming a number of innovation and improvements in machine operation and machine tools where are developed primarily for making textile machinery. These innovations include the invention of machine tools and jigs, feature for holding the work in a proper position, and blocks and gauge to check the accuracy to the finished parts. History. In the late 18th century, French journal Jeeves, British Vecta or Griebel suggested that muskets could be manufactured faster and more economically if you were made from interchangeable parts. This system would not make field repair easier to carry out under battle condition. He provided patronage to Hanover Blank, who attempted to implement the systemic Greenbevel but never succeeded until then. Under the British factory system, skilled mechanists were required to produce parts from a design, but however skilled the mechanist parts were, never identical, and each parts had to be manufactured separately to fit its counterparts, almost always by the person who produced each complete item from start to finish. Mass production using interchangeable parts was first achieved in 1800 C by March Isambard Bernal Incorporation with Harry Mandusle and Salman Godrich under the management of Brigadier General Sir Sumil Benira, Inspector General of Naval Work at Portsmouth Block Mills and at Portsmouth Dockyard for the British Royal Navy during the Nepali War. By 1808, annual production had achieved 1,30,000. This method of working did not catch on in general manufacturing in British for many decades, and when it did, it was imported for America, becoming known as the American system of manufacturing. Even though it originated in England, the Loyal system is also related to the American system. During this time, it in placed purchasing, training, and providing house and other living necessities for the workforce, as well as during semi-automatic machines in the satellite factory building or complex